Welcome to Baba's Talk Show, recorded live in Gold Coast, Australia.
Welcome to another episode of Baba's Talk Show. I'm Hussein Baba. As you know, every week I invite special guests, and today is not exceptional. I've known this gentleman for a very long time, and I consider him as my brother. Okay, here we have KEVIN DANDO. Good morning to you, brother. How are you?
Good on, brother. How are you?
Good, good. Where's your formal greeting?
Kia ora, I just said it. That's how we say hello, but that's in Cook Islands. In New Zealand, we say kia ora.
That's right.
And in Australian, we say, or down here on the Gold Coast, Jingiri.
Jingiri. Okay.
Jingiri.
Good, good. So as I mentioned to you, I've known KEVIN for many years, and KEVIN is involved in community services. He's part of an organization called MFO, and he does a lot of activities in the multicultural communities, right? And you work especially with the youth. Just give a brief background. Rather than me giving a background, why don't you give a background of yourself? Like where you came from, where you were born, where you educated.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. Mania. Mania means good.
Good, yeah. Go ahead.
Mania.
Okay, Mania. All right.
Well, firstly, thank you for the opportunity.
Right.
I've seen how you've been able to get out there and connect again with our communities.
Right.
Like you've said, I've known you as well for quite a while.
Yes.
Working within our multicultural communities, not just here on the Gold Coast,
Right.
but all over.
Yes.
For myself, coming from another country, being raised in a family of mixed race,
Right.
it's been very interesting. I mean, even now, next year I'm going to be 50.
You don't
But
look
I'm
like that.
Thank you. Thank you. But I'm still learning things.
All
I'm
right.
still learning.
Everybody's learning. Even I'm learning.
You never.
You never stop learning.
No.
How older you get, you still learn every day. You learn something.
Every
Because
day.
yeah. So yeah.
And so I was born in New Zealand.
Okay.
Wellington.
Right.
Windy Wellington, they say, because it's between two of the North and the South Islands, so very
Right.
cold, very
Right.
windy. And growing up, so my father, who's passed, he's Australian,
Right.
Australian heritage, and my mum is from the beautiful Pacific nation of the Cook Islands.
Cook Islands. Okay.
Yes, from a island called Aitutaki. So if you type that up, you'll see the most beautiful beach
All right.
that the Lord has created in
I
Aitutaki.
thought it was Sri Lanka because I come from Sri Lanka.
Yes, I was just saying, so Aitutaki. And yeah, growing up those early years in New Zealand, having an extended family,
Right.
which is really important.
Right.
And then my teenage years were in the Cook Islands.
Okay.
So we packed up. Mum packed us up with her boys, and we traveled to the Cook Islands.
All right.
And then met my lovely wife, who I've been married to for 27 years this year,
Right.
and had our children in New Zealand.
Right.
We came back to New Zealand, and then we are here in what they say God's country, Queensland, for the past 24 years.
Right. Right. That's right.
So that's
pretty long time, eh? More or less
Here
my
and
time.
there.
Yeah, I came around 1999, around that time. Yeah. Things have changed, of course. A lot of things have changed since then. Now, KEVIN, earlier you mentioned your mom picked you up, or your siblings, and moved to Cook Islands. Why your father doesn't come into the picture?
Yeah, so we were discussing this at one of our get-togethers recently, and I think for me, my wife keeps encouraging me that only you can tell your story.
Right.
Only I,
Yes.
because there's only me.
Yes.
There's only one Hussein.
Yes.
There's only one of you,
Yeah.
and only you can tell your story. So for me, and things working in the space of multicultural here on the Gold Coast. Firstly I was at MCCGC,
Right.
and now at Multicultural Families Organization.
Right.
And we just recently had International Women's Day,
Right.
and I think every year becomes more and more special to me because
Yeah.
it's my mum who basically became the role of a father for us. Things that I try and remember,
Right.
and there are some things you don't want to remember.
Right. Right. Right.
We talk about domestic and family violence, and,
Right.
and there's things that trigger me
Right.
sometimes. And working in that space, we have a team at MFO called the Sarah program, and just to
Right.
see the great work that they do. And
Right.
for me, it's important to, it's a choice. You know,
Yes.
the choices that you make, there are consequences
Right.
in what you want to do. And my father was a person who was, I'm learning a lot more
Right.
about sort of his backstory.
Yeah.
But he would be there one day and then gone for a long period of time.
Right.
I've also met with my extended brothers
Okay.
as well from previous relationships
Right.
that I didn't know about, but to see us all connect
Okay.
now,
Right.
all these years later, and still hearing stories, I think that's just the power of what you can do as an individual to, you know, you don't need to go down that pathway.
Right.
For me, the importance of my mother, my wife,
Yeah.
my daughters,
Yeah.
is because the role that they play in making me a better man, a better
Right.
husband, a better
Right.
father.
Right.
And I think that helps me in really what I do with the community.
That's true. That's true. Very much so.
Yeah.
Brother, you need women behind you to back you up.
Oh, they're in the front. I'm just behind, you know. They're in the front.
You got
I
two lovely
definitely-
daughters, and I think one finished a uni, right? Recently.
Yes, so she's a primary school teacher.
Right.
And we were just so proud of her.
Yeah.
What she had to go through during that COVID period.
Oh,
too,
yes, yes,
of
yes.
learning online and
Yeah.
being away from schoolmates, and just
Yeah.
to see what she has come through,
Right.
and her fiance,
Right.
and the support from all of the family, because you know, it takes a village.
Right.
It
True,
really
true.
does for us. It takes
Yeah.
a village to raise.
And plus, you have beautiful twins. About 7, 8 now? What?
So they're 8 years old
8
now,
years old.
and if you times that by 2, that means they're 16.
They're lovely, very cute. And I remember Kevin used to post their photos quite regularly. I don't recently have stopped it, but they're very cute, wearing fancy dresses and well dressed, beautiful. Yeah. So, brother, back to your early days, right? Growing up in a single parent family. Now, it must have been quite difficult for your mom. So, would you able to speak something about how she brought you guys up, like how she instilled what you are today? Apart from your wife and your daughters,
Yeah.
she must have done a lot of things for you. So,
Yeah, there's definitely times I remember her working 2 to 3 jobs. And you know, when you look around, you're at school and you see other children with their fathers or their mothers, or you know, everyone together, and wishing, oh, you know, sometimes you would think that it would be nice to be complete,
right.
but then you have to change that thinking,
Right.
and really support what she's doing for us. So I think that's definitely what's been ingrained in not just me, but my younger brothers,
Yes.
is that independence.
Independence. Yes.
Because English was not her first language.
Okay.
So you just imagine that.
Right.
Being in a country that's not your home, being in New Zealand,
right.
And trying to raise you know, these young boys. And like I said before, family is very important. Like we've been able to connect with our families. And I remember those bus trips, and the way that she would make it was, it's a bus trip to see family.
Right.
But it's a way to get away. You know, a way to get away from the home space, the harm that's there, the danger, and to feel that safetiness of the community, of family. And that's something that's been strong in our heart all this time. So I understand how, if someone's come from a new country, they gravitate to who they know, who reminds them of home, and that's cool. But I think we also need to look outside of that.
Of course.
There's a lot more opportunity. There's a lot more networks. There's a lot more friendships that we can find outside, like today.
Of course. Brother, at that time, when your mother was struggling to bring you boys up, I don't think you had services available like that you have now. Like for example, you have Sarah Bound. By the way, 2 years ago, I did a video on Sarah. All the representative of the militia was there. Marisha was there. Cornelia was there. So we did a show on Sarah. I'll put the link back again in this post. So if you want to refer to the services of Sarah Project, please do so. So yeah, back to the question. So how did she manage without this support? Now you got professional support, but then they didn't have this type of support. What did they have?
It was more just, I will make it happen.
On your
That was
own.
the attitude.
On your own.
You had to.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was some support financially, but it was more so the connection with community, with friends at work,
Right.
that I would remember, that she would feel safe.
Right.
Church was a big one as well. It was a huge role in our life.
Right.
When we moved to the Cook Islands and for our teenage years, that was definitely a way of connecting and making her that sense of worth, because it would just be every day up, work, sleep. If she didn't eat, but her kids were able to have a piece of bread, these things, I just can't imagine the fees.
Yes.
But we wouldn't see that. We wouldn't.
Right.
She wouldn't, show that. But then I think as well, that's something that we needed to recognize, because we had no, like you said, there were no words for this, like depression or just domestic violence. It was just normal.
That's right.
You think it's normal, but it's not.
That's not.
So I'm just grateful and thankful for just how she was.
That's right. You see, bro, people of course celebrate Mother's Day, right? But I tell them every day is a Mother's Day for us. And of course, you think about your mother all the time, like all of us do. And the thing is, mother's love is unbeatable. You can't compare the mother's love, It's very, very important. And as a practicing Muslim, the most important person after Almighty Creator is your mother. Mother plays a very important part above your father. So you got God, mother, then the father. So mother is very, very important. And I'm so glad that she brought you the way how you are now. I mean, you could have gone the other way. I mean, that's what we see. I mean, let's be frank about it, brother. In single parenthood, you see boys taking the wrong side of the track and end up abusing, drug abuse. But you managed to come clean. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
it takes a lot of, self-discipline, hard work and things. But you learn. I mean, for me, why hurt your wife, or why hurt your partner, or why disrespect? Why?
Yeah.
What do you get out of it? You're just hurting yourself.
Right.
And that's my mentality, and that's what the passion I have when I do anything with young people.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I meet young people years later,
right.
after I think I've just said a few words, or I've been to an assembly, or I've done a workshop, but for them to come back later, years later, and say, oh, I remember you, this is what I'm doing now, thank you for that. And there's so many other services, organizations that are out there doing that. And it's like, I feel like I'm somebody. And I see you, I see you.
Yes.
And that's sort of
that's very
approach.
important, especially, Kevin, we have a growing youth population. I'm talking about the Gold Coast. And not everybody been fortunate to have a proper upbringing. They're in their teens. And I see very sad because, I've been dealing with homeless for the last 6 years, since 2018. And I see these youngsters who are coming out of drug abuse, mental issues, it's very sad because they should be growing up in a good family and all that. Well, from your point of view, do they get sufficient support on the Gold Coast, this youth?
I think there's always a need for support. I mean, we're all, there's grants and all these things but everyone's going for the same pie. It's trying to definitely work in collaboration. If I don't have the answer, or I don't have the service, I know somebody that I can refer you to. So it's really that knowledge is power.
Right.
Knowledge is power. The more you know, the more that you can help your community, what you're doing on your network and sharing that out and making sure that people know, wow, I didn't know about that. I just saw some of your guest speakers this morning and just hearing about what they're doing. The more of that is needed. Sharing is caring.
That's true. I agree with you 100%, brother. Before you, of course, I did two videos. My first guest talked about mentoring, mentoring young people. Not only young people, his guest was a young lady from New Zealand. By the way, she was 14 years old. She left school by 17, 19, with 3 kids on her own, came to Australia, found this man, helped her out, and she became one of the top leading businesswomen on the Gold Coast. So that was one example. And then the second one, we talked about, the second guest talked about mental health issues, which is quite prevalent. I'm not talking about not only Australia, even in the Gold Coast. This issue, I mean, it's not only adults, also youngsters. They go through depressions and various. But that's the fact. You have to face it. That's the reality of the situation now. So, of course, like Kevin, you go to church. Religion plays a big part in your life. Even I am, as a Muslim, so you can't what do you call, separate religion from your activities, because religion itself try to help you out when there's a need, spiritually, because you start communicating with God. So that's very important. And tell me, what would be your advice to our youth in our community, especially the youth? I'm concerned about the youth here. You have seen all these youth through your services. So what are the main issues that they face, and what are the advices that you can give to them?
Well, for me, and I'll just focus on me and my family and what I've tried to do.
Yes.
Like, I've got the whole sort of now young adults,
Yes.
A second daughter who's finding her own way in the world,
Right.
and allowing that, but also supporting that, saying, hey, we're here
Right.
as parents.
Right.
I think that's so powerful. As a man,
Yeah.
as a husband, as a father, you know, it's important to be there. I mean,
Right.
that's simple.
That's
to
right.
be present. That's your present
Yes.
to your child. If you have no money or whatever to buy a present, but
Right.
for you to be the present.
Right.
You know, that's so important for me, is to be there. I can remember the days of and the schools and the events and things, or being attending and just seeing the smile on their face.
Yes.
You know, and I know not everybody has that opportunity, and
Yeah.
they don't grow up in that sort of setting where they do have support and network.
Yeah.
I think for me, the advice to a young person is to find your sense of belonging. Find something to do. There's so many things that, you know, here in Queensland we are so famous for: the outdoors,
Yes.
you know, the sports.
Right.
There's so many other activities,
Right.
and now 2024 compared to 20 years ago, there's a lot more opportunity. There's a lot more training. There's a lot more courses to do. You know,
Right.
there's alternative schooling.
Right.
So there's all these different ways of you know, getting out there and learning more and finding your own identity.
Right. That's very important. Learning your identity, and also you have that self of confidence that your family is there in case of need. This is very, 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 you can fall back if there's anything, because in our culture, family plays a very important part. Even they become adult, we still have, you know, continuous connection. It's not once a year, happy Christmas, happy birthday. No, it's a continuous thing.
Yeah.
So this is what I think it's also got to do with cultural. And of course, our country, Australia is a beautiful place, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But things have become too advanced and too modern. Sometimes you lack the importance of family. This is very, very important. I would, for the youth, like you mentioned, it's very important to keep connection with your parents, with your family. You know, they're the one who loves you really, because blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
Right. So, is there anything you would like to add, Kevin? Anything else, brother?
I think just the simple sort of message today is definitely about sharing is caring.
Yeah.
What I have, whether it be in my being, whether it be part of me, whether it be material,
Right.
you know, it's there to give.
Give.
You know, and it's better to give than to receive.
Right. You're right.
as
I
it
agree with
says,
you 100%.
You know,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Giving, it makes you satisfied, make you happy. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you are making some improvement in somebody's life. That's very, very important. And that's why, as you are familiar with my motto by now. So I said, no matter where you come from, no matter what language you speak, no matter what your religious beliefs are, we are all brothers and sisters in humanity. Therefore, we should respect each other, extend love and care, and be compassionate to one another. So brother, if everybody can follow this message, you already following it, so it's not for you. People out there.
I try. Every day
you're doing
keep trying.
You got to
keep trying.
You got 100%. Okay, we know about you. You really do a good job. Since I know when you're in MCCGC and I knew you're in MFO, and you come to our gatherings, you meet different events, so I can see the effort that you put at the same time being a father, a husband, and so it's you're doing a good job, no? And why I'm calling my big brother, not because he's older than me, he's big. He's big. so brother, thank you so much for stopping this morning.
Main taki mata, we say. And before we go, I want to present now in our culture. Whenever you do come to the Cook Islands, to the best beach in the world, Aitutaki, remember? We will always greet our friends, and once you come off the plane, you either get a flower or a shell or something just to say, hey, friendship is like a circle, no end. Okay? Friends go up, go down, but friendship continues on. So thank you for the opportunity. Also to your son, always by your side. I want to present this to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, look at that, man.
There you go.
At that. Okay.
Looking good.
Wait. Hey, I also like giving too. I have something for you.
Some food?
Not today.
Last
Not
time
today.
we had food.
Oh yeah. Every time you have it. Today is a different, which is actually I want to appreciate the service that you do. Kevin, we need more people like you. Because I meet people from every cultural background. I move with them because me, I'm a cosmopolitan person here. So I meet and I can see people and I can see the way you conduct yourself in the public and with your family. But any small token of appreciation, got it for you here. Okay. So Kevin, thank you so much for appearing. And I just want to read out a word of appreciation presented to Kevin Dando for appearing Baba's talk show and for your services to the community. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Meitaki, thank you. And thank you once again for the opportunity. I just want to say a big thank you to all of my mentors, people that I've known here on the Gold Coast, back in New Zealand, back in the Cook Islands, and a special one to my family. Meitaki Mata.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, audience. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. All right. We'll take one.